Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had enough time to get a glass of water, do a stretch or two, take a breath, because next up we have Bunny Reunion and Tour, facilitated by artist Brianna Ortega, who is a graduating third year in the MFA program. During this time, bunnies and friends of bunnies are welcome to join, this time for sharing about various bunnies' histories. Do you have a bunny hill in your town? We want to hear about your relationship to the bunnies. In 2021, Brianna claimed Bunny Hill of Cannon Beach, Oregon as a public historic site. You can go look at her work from Bunny Hill and watch the film about the bunnies called To Exist at the Jordan Schnitzer Museum of Art at PSU through June 25th. Brianna, welcome to Assembly 2021.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today, the Bunny Reunion. So right now, I am at Bunny Hill in Cannon Beach, Oregon, and I just wanted to take you around to see a few of the bunnies and then also invite a few bunny members to share their bunnies at home, which includes Justin. Hi, Justin. And also Cindy Bryden is also here with us live. So just starting out, I'm just gonna switch my camera to the bunnies here. And let me know if you can see them okay. Can everyone see?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so these bunnies are about teenage age and they were released from the wild. They were released from someone's property about 20 years ago in Cannon Beach and they repopulated here. So you can find a lot of bunnies. And I did have two babies that were just here, but they left. So sorry. Oh, there's another one over there. And here's another one right here. And to learn more about this project that I had, Bunny Hill, I'll be talking about it on Friday in my graduate lecture. But for now, this is just the bunny tour. So there's a bunny, another bunny, there's another bunny. And then we have Cindy Bryden here, who is going to share her bunny. So can you... So hi, Cindy. Can you introduce your bunny and and where your bunny is from?
Yes, this big bunny.
Can everyone hear okay? Yes.
Can you see the cinnabar? So this is Cinnabar, named after a lounge, ski resort lounge in Utah. And he's a Utah bunny. And he's actually called a Rex dwarf. But when we got him and we saw the size of his foot, we knew he was not going to be a dwarf. And so the one cool thing about rabbits is their noses never stop moving. Can you see that?
Yeah. And okay. How do you feel like your bunny likes living with you in your home?
Oh, I think he has a grand time. He's spoiled because he has two girlfriends, two girl bunnies.
And what are their relationships like at home?
There really is a kind of like a peer system where the top dog or the top rabbit is my smallest rabbit. Believe it or not, her name is Cookie, and she's a Netherland bunny. She's a dwarf.
Bree, you're muted.
Brianna, you are muted. Can you hear us? I think this is the silent movie portion of Brianna's bunny tour.
That's why they're a great pet. And then our last bunny is all white. It's a part lion head and Netherland, and she is the lowest one in the totem pole. In other words, they, when it comes to who's in charge, she has to kind of make way for the other rabbits. But she has one payback, and that is if they're all eating carrots, what Chloe will do is snatch a carrot right out of the mouth of this big guy and run off with it. Yeah, so they do interact playfully. They all have different personalities. Yeah, which is really cool. But yeah.
And how does your bunny enjoy this sight of Bunny Hill?
Oh, I don't think he knows what's going on. Now he's, this is his afternoon nap time when he just kind of chills. So as you can see that he's very relaxed. So the other little bunnies are more active.
Yeah, so let's walk this way.
Okay.
To the other bunnies.
Okay, Cinnabar.
Okay, and then while we're walking to the other bunnies, we wanted to introduce Justin and Marina's bunny. Justin and Marina, thank you for coming and bringing your bunny.
Of course. Thanks for having our bunny.
Okay.
His name's Poppy.
Oh, cute.
He's preoccupied.
That bunny's wonderful.
Snack time.
Yeah.
Unlike most bunnies who eat lots of hay, the only way Poppy will eat hay is if you smash banana on it. So he gets banana hay every day.
Banana hay. Ah.
We make songs about it like, hey, hey, banana hay today, banana hay. He loves
Well,
it.
And Justin, would you be able to share a little bit about your bunny story and the favorite part of living with you that Poppy believes is the best part of being with you in your home?
Of course. Marina has a great bunny magic story of how he came to be.
So it was like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
3 years ago, I was finishing my undergraduate degree. I was in my last semester, and I went to a farm stand down the street from our house, and there were these really cute little bunnies. They were in a cage, and they were for sale. And I just started talking to them because that's what I do, and feeding them hay and just saying hi. And I came home and I told Justin, I said, I think I know what I need in my life. And he said, what? I said, I need a bunny. I need bunny therapy. And he said, okay. And I said, I met these bunnies and I think they want to come home. And he's like, okay, is that really a good idea? You're kind of stressed out, like finishing school and working. I was like, yeah, no, it's a great idea. And then I thought about it some more and I was like, that's a terrible idea. I don't think I should do that right now. But then I said, well, someday I'm going to get a bunny and that bunny is going to be named Poppy. And so every morning I would wake up and would lay in bed and I'd tell Justin, oh, today my make-believe future bunny named Poppy and I are going to do this and we're going to do this and Poppy's going to jump on her bed and get cuddles. And he'd just kind of smile and nod like, who's this crazy lady next to me? And then a few months later, a friend posted on Facebook, she's in New York, which is where I'm from. When we were living in California, she said, "Oh, my bunny just had babies and we're looking for good homes." And I jokingly responded and said, "Oh, we're a good home." And that was that. And then the next day, her daughter posted a picture of this little floppy-eared gray bunny. And she said, "This is Poppy. This is one of the baby bunnies, Poppy." And I said, "Oh my God, Justin, we're getting a bunny from New York because my bunny Poppy is real." So I flew out to New York for graduation and I came home with Poppy. And that's how he came to be. He just had a bunch of bananas.
I know.
So, what you want, bud?
There was 2 questions you asked, Bree, right?
Yes. And what is Poppy's favorite part about living in your home?
He does whatever he wants. Like he literally goes wherever he wants and does whatever he wants. Like there's no boundaries for the Poppy. He's not caged at all. So his ultimate freedom, and he loves to explore.
And where is Poppy from originally? His ancestors?
I just Wikipedia'd it earlier today, actually.
He says, "No way, Dad." He's like, "I'm from New York. I'm a New York bunny." Got the right attitude, right, Poppy?
I think what Wikipedia says is that the Holland Lop are first bred by a hybrid of the French Lop and the Netherlands Lop. So I think they're called Holland Lop because in 1984, the Netherlands Rabbit Council first recognized them as a breed.
How do you get on the Rabbit Council?
So
Does the United States have a Rabbit Council?
probably.
We should join. This is it.
Wow. And Justin, how has your bunny changed how you view the world? And or Marina, if you want to answer it.
We spend a lot more time on the floor.
Yeah, our viewpoint of the world has changed.
Literal viewpoint.
Like I'm laying on the floor frequently.
How else did you see?
Yeah. Oh, we have another bunny coming in.
Hi, Bunny.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce my sister, Snow. I was texting her saying, "Hey, Snow, jump on. We're talking about bunnies. We're sharing our bunnies. You might as well share yours."
Yeah, this is Guinevere, and she's just hanging out right now. She was a rescue from one of my friends. She was outside before, but I have another rabbit that I have raised since he was a baby, and he's a free roam house rabbit. And I studied a lot about them, and so I'm a big bunny enthusiast. Her personality is a lot different than my other rabbit. She likes to just kind of do her own thing. She's not really very social. And my other rabbit is extremely social. He's almost like a dog. He comes and greets you when you come to the door. He hates shoes. He loves to cuddle, and so he's really cute. But yeah, this is her. She's saying hi. She's just hanging out.
Wow, thank you so much for coming, and your bunny for coming. So what does your bunny like to do outside?
Well, we have our harness trained, and I also have a balcony. She's a big loafer. My other rabbit, Gertrude, loves the snow. So when it snows, I let him out on the balcony, and he likes to dig and play with snowballs.
Wow.
He's a big snowball enthusiast. I have a video of him picking up snowballs and stuff. It's really cute. Yeah.
That's so cute.
And the little Snow is actually in Denver, Colorado. So
Okay.
Yeah, it snows a lot here.
And how has having a bunny changed your perception of life?
Well, I think people don't really understand like how much personality like every animal has, and especially rabbits are very misunderstood. Oftentimes they're kept in cages and little tiny hutches and kept outside where they're not really meant to be. And ever since I got them, I realized how, you know, how each one has their own little personality and you bond with each little animal differently. So my perception of life is just that we each have our own uniqueness, including bunnies, including birds and fish, and they especially have the ability to create really strong bonds with their owners and really strong bonds with other rabbits. And so it's nice and it creates a sense of community.
Thank you so much for sharing.
I do think bunnies are a good example of how different species can live together harmoniously. And humans could learn a lot by watching the behavior of bunnies, believe it or not. Because they're kind to each other. They're very social. Still there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're very social, and they really are good to each other. They'll lick each other's faces, behind the ears, and other sweet nothings.
Yeah, they're really, I couldn't agree more. They're very social and they, you know, have a way of bringing you into their own little social circle, which is really fun. I've never gotten to experience that with other animals, but they, you know, they treat you like one of their own. You know, they're not our rabbits, we're their humans.
So my bunny, if I'm sleeping late, my partner and they'll come to my bedroom door and scratch at the door, knock at the door for me to wake up. So I don't need an alarm clock. So they actually are very, very good about that.
So I joke that Poppy is like a little bunny clock because he also wakes me up in the morning. And then I always know what time of day it is because like first thing in the morning he'll wake me up, and then if he hasn't gotten food by like 9 o'clock, he sits by his plate, and then by 4:30, 5 o'clock he's sitting by his plate just holding vigil. And then he's got a smaller plate for his pellets, and he just moves over there by like 6:30, and he'll sit and wait. He can't be distracted or deterred. He's like, it's dinner time, it's meal time, I know what time it is. So he's like a little clock.
That's impressive. My bunnies are big sleepers. Because they're older. They're almost 7 years old.
And
So I don't know how old your bunnies are. How old are your bunnies?
Ours, 3.
3. Oh, okay. Mine's an old man.
what about our other bunny? How old is the other bunny visitor, Snow?
Oh yeah, she's 3 and my other rabbit just turned a year old this April.
Oh, so just tiny still.
Yeah, he's still kind of like, you know, in the process of gaining weight and growing, but he's really cute, and she's about 3 or 4.
I have a question for the bunny owners in this conversation. I am not a bunny owner. I am a dog owner. But have you found, like, I know that there's a huge dog community that I'm a part of. Can you guys talk about your bunny communities that you've cultivated, if you have one? Bunny friends.
Bree, you're muted again.
Could you?
Okay, now they can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I very recently I had two large Bernese dogs, which are like about the size of a Saint Bernard. They're big dogs, and the way we greeted them was with their noses, and so they sniffed at each other, and they were very, very good to each other, which surprised me considering the size difference. But in our community, to be afraid of the dog barking. Yeah, which is interesting.
So she just said the bunnies here are not afraid of dogs barking.
Yeah.
Snow, Bunny, do you have anything to share with everyone about your community of bunnies, if you have any?
Yeah. Well, my best friend, or one of my close friends, Sierra, before I even had rabbits, her grandmother had rescued this rabbit who in the shelter they were labeling him as like being really mean and like territorial. When she actually got him though, she, litter box trained him and then let him like roam in the house freely, and he was like the sweetest rabbit ever. I mean, he's so trusting, he'll lay on his back and let you pet his stomach, which is so unusual for rabbits. So as far as bunny communities, like, you can find them there. It's a different type of pet for sure. It's like, they have different needs than dogs or, cats. You're worrying, more about if they're eating enough, and worrying if they get like GI stasis, or if they're getting outside enough, or, just having different like worries in them. But yeah, and they bond really well with people and, other rabbits, and they're more, I wouldn't say herd, but they're kind of more herd animals than, we think they are. So it's always good to have multiple ones. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I don't live in San Diego and I can't go like visit her. And I have yet to find a community here in Denver that has free roam house rabbits. Every time my friends come over, they're like, oh my gosh, it's so cool that you let your rabbits just roam freely in your apartment. And I'm like, well, I couldn't imagine getting, just staying trapped in a cage all day. So I doubt that they like that, but yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
thank you so much.
well, our three bunnies get to roam the house, and that's when they do a lot of hopping because they get very excited. They do like Bronco rodeo moves when they're free in the house, which is really cute to watch because they can do 360s in the middle of the air.
Oh yeah, that's the best. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite to watch. Do your guys' bunnies do any radical moves in the air? And also, someone has a question in the chat. They also asked about Poppy's love story.
Oh, Poppy's love story. It was, I don't know if people watch Assembly or Snack TV, but Marina's going to be a first year in the program next year, and your neighborhood highlight.
Yeah, my neighborhood highlight was all about Poppy, King Tut. What was his name? I don't know. He's a little king, and his
He's a monarch of 660 Pleasant Avenue.
yeah. But we basically, I got a text one night. I was coming home from work, and Justin's like, "There's a bunny in the front yard." He's like, "I asked my mom to go outside and try and capture it, and she said I don't have time to chase rabbits with carrots." And so I came home that night, and Justin got home, and he went outside. He had a carrot in one hand and a banana in the other, and like 20 minutes later, I hear, Marina, I caught it. And there's this little cute bunny out on the deck that he'd corralled into the pen. Poppy, you hear me talking about his love. Anyway, it turns out that she was the neighbor's bunny, and she escaped. And so for like 3 months, she would escape, and they tried to keep her in. They built all these like walls and fences, and she just always found a way out. And she'd like traverse the neighborhood down to our house, and she'd hop onto the back deck. There were a couple times she spent the night. And yeah, her and Poppy were just like madly in love, and they'd lay out next to each other and give each other kisses and have dinner dates. And
well, yeah, they both weren't. Poppy it's not neutered, and she wasn't spayed, so they couldn't actually be in the same proximity.
space.
But they
we
got
weren't ready to be parents yet.
Yeah, but they got close enough through a gate. So, and then that went on for many months, and then one day she just didn't show up.
Yeah, she just disappeared.
Yeah, and Poppy was very, very sad.
He was really sad. He was heartbroken. He would like sit by the back door waiting for her to come. He'd go out on the deck and he'd like look around. He'd get up on his little legs, and his little sniffer was going, looking for her. But I think he's okay now. He's like, I don't need no stinking bunny.
So that's the bunny love story, the Poppy love story. Thanks, Shelby.
Wow, thanks so much, Justin, Marina, for sharing that. So yeah, oh my gosh, two bunnies are looking at each other over here. Can you guys see it? Can you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are some more teenage bunnies. And this is actually at the site of Bunny Hill, which is a site I claimed as a public historical site where we had the grand opening ceremony right here. Right here. But yeah, here are some of the bunnies. Some of the younger ones are a little bit more fearful of humans because they haven't really adapted too much into the social environment. Justin shared that bunnies can live over 10 years, so that's pretty long. And then we're also going to have Ernie share a little bit about his bunny countings that he has done here at Bunny Hill. So I'm going to pan over back to Ernie. Here they are. Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Ernie, and I'm Seaba's here's other parent, and I like to do bunny safaris in the morning. I like to do bunny safaris in the morning, and I counted 41 the other day. The best time to do bunny safaris is around 7 o'clock in the morning. It's fun to just ride around Tolovana and Pacific Ave and count them. The thing I've noticed about these bunnies is that they have longer ears than the standard domesticated bunnies. And of course, they're cute too. Most of the bunnies are dark brown or almost black or gray colored. And then there are some white ones and some buff colored ones. And it's great driving around looking at them. I think that the people, when they walk their dogs, put the bunnies down. So usually 7 o'clock or 7:30 is best before people walk their dogs. Everybody should try it. It's great to get going in the morning. And I really recommend it to people. I think there should be a ordinance in the town that the dogs can only be walked north of the rock because they harass the bunnies around Tolovana. I don't know how that would work politically to try to get an ordinance to do that, but I may in the future. And this is little Seabar, and he likes his nose rubbed. Seabar likes his nose rubbed, and he likes to be rubbed behind the ears. And that always works with bunnies if you have pet bunnies. If you want them to be calm, you just rub their nose like this. If you want the bunnies to be calm, you just rub their nose like this. And see how calm he is? So that's the story. Be sure to take bunny safaris once in a while. They're great fun.
And would you consider yourself a bunny safari specialist here?
Yeah, I think I'm a specialist here because I know where you're most likely to find them. And you're most likely to find them off Bunny Hill, which is where we are. Also over in the Tolovana Park, which is now kind of a parking lot. And then in Pacific, behind the Surf Crest grocery store, there are quite a few of them there.
Can you take us over here and show us something?
Yeah, you can do Pacific further south from Bunny Hill, and about two houses up, or three houses up. There's kind of a little house with a big front yard, and normally there are quite a few bunnies in there.
Okay, now we're gonna take you this way to see some more bunnies. And I just wanted to check in. Is there any other bunny that has come today that wants to share? I know there's a few other people.
Bree, you're muted accidentally.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Someone asked a question. Let's continue walking this way with the bunnies. Okay. And Cindy is actually a scientist. And Zach asked, I wonder how the emergence of territories of wild, formerly domesticated bunny animals is related to crises. Is there any known tied to mass human home abandonment, like evictions, ecological catastrophe, etc.? I know
Well,
Australia had some bunnies.
that is really a mouthful. It's a pretty heavy question, but I haven't heard of rabbits being the cause of people being evicted or anything. You do have to be careful though, if they're roaming in your home, they do love to chew on cell phone battery attachments. So, I mean, that's that vinyl cord, which they like to chew on. But the good thing is that you can train them. So if they need to, use a bathroom or a facility, they'll use it. And that's very, very helpful. Oh, there's a little baby right there. Yeah, sweet.
Oh, there's one laying down. One. Can you guys see the bunny laying down back there? Oh, so Zach said, can people having to leave their homes result in these wild groups of animals? Oh, so like a disaster, ecological disaster, and the people leave their homes and then the bunnies repopulate.
I personally believe that one of the populations that will survive will be rabbits. In other words, if there's an environmental catastrophe, humans will be gone. But I think the rabbits will endure because they make their little burrows underground. So they will be safe. And they populate so quickly. Although humans are catching up with that.
And then Justin and Poppy, do you have any response to the question?
Nothing comes to mind. Maybe I'm not 100% understanding what the question is. I apologize, but
The question was,
This bunny's chilling.
I mean, is it relating to like if there's a natural disaster and animals?
Should I just pose it with my own voice?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So I'm wondering if the if areas like this Bunny Hill are going to increase in number as catastrophes rise, whether that be ecological disasters, so like wildfires or storms and people abandoning their animals. Would those, do you think that would be a something to look out for as the years go on? Or not even for just disasters ecologically, but do you think that could also result from like the mass evictions that were happening throughout this last year of people abandoning their animals if they lose their homes as well? Yeah. Is there a connection that anybody knows of?
Well, I actually thought the animals were great comforters for the people that were being evicted. So they allowed people to keep their kind of sanity with all the COVID responses.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any like.
Yeah, it's a good question, Zach.
It's interesting though.
I don't know any ties myself, but that makes sense. I mean, like we've calculated how much it costs to feed our bunny a really nice, good food, and it's like it's probably like over $1,000 a year, which is just insane. So I mean, if people don't have, if they're getting evicted or whatever, and yeah, I mean, it costs quite a bit of money to have a bunny eating what he wants. So yeah, so I mean, it would make sense that you couldn't have a bunny. So
And they're also like really sensitive animals too. Like they don't really travel super well. They tend to like their routine and their home space. And yeah, so I could imagine that would be really interesting though, to follow like those stories. I mean, I feel like I heard something about like a herd of wild horses that like cropped up after some of the fires. I remember who was telling me that, but because they couldn't load them in the trailers and they got out, and there's just, I don't remember where it was, somewhere in California. That'd be interesting to follow.
I think it's a really interesting question, because when you think about animals, and especially depending on if they're in the city or outside in rural areas, a lot of the resources to take care of those animals aren't necessarily there. And so maybe even thinking about bunnies, people can justify putting them out to pasture, so to speak, like letting them go free, because you see them out in nature naturally. I know, like speaking for myself, in New Mexico, we have jackrabbits everywhere. So I think it's an interesting conversation about how could this be. Is this going to be kind of an upward trend now that we are kind of coming out of a crisis? And I would like to swing this back around and maybe ask Bree, and maybe you don't know the answer to this question, but like, how did Bunny Hill begin? Like, they seem like they're domesticated bunny types. But how do you postulate, like, how did it begin?
yeah, so a few different stories that have gone around, but the main story is that they believe they were released from an RV park about 15 to 20 years ago and then repopulated in the community. That's the story that I'm familiar with. Are you familiar with a different story, Cindy?
No, I'm sure if people had pets and they were too much of a hassle for them, they would release them.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
also heard about that. Many people come to Cannon Beach to actually drop off their bunny because they don't want the bunny anymore.
Yeah.
They change their mind. They think, oh, this is too much of a commitment. So they drop off their bunny thinking that they can drop off the bunny here with the other bunnies that are wild. Yeah. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to think about, just because and especially how quickly they reproduce.
Yeah, they do. They reproduce very fast. And the reason why I claimed Bunny Hill as a historical site is because so many people have been talking about these bunnies for years. It's created so much conversation, and that I wanted to claim the site as historic due to all of the conversation around these bunnies, the public knowledge kind of manifesting in a historical site. And then I think, Sohaila, you had a question. How has the Bunny Project changed your perception of life? Yeah, that's a great question. I think that it really has taught me that life is out of control. It's out of your control, but you can still stop to watch a bunny. How has the Bunny Project impacted your life, Cindy, being a part of this Bunny Project series?
I think it's a good awareness for people in the community, because you have mixed feelings about rabbits. Some people feel they're a nuisance because they'll go in their gardens and eat carrots and lettuce. But it's when you think about it, at the same time, they're dropping little pellets which will fertilize the garden. So it's a win-win situation. And I was going to say something about food. I know someone mentioned that they were spending about $1,000 a year. That seems really excessive. I know with our rabbits, we have 3. We just get 1 bale of hay. And hay is very important for their digestive system, in that they should be almost eating about 90% hay. And then the other things, carrots, bananas, apples, lettuce, it's all treats, really. Yeah. So it's important to keep in mind that the hay is a very important ingredient of their diet.
Are there any other questions that everyone has about this topic?
Another question. I'm curious about the use of the word nuisance, because I remember early on in your project a few years ago now, Bree, you and I talked about this Bunny Hill in terms of the bunnies being an invasive species, and I wonder how you view what an invasive species is now years later.
Through the project, how my perception has shifted.
Yeah, what's your perception on an invasive species in general?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think through the project, I've just thought more about like how long does it take until something isn't invasive anymore,
Yeah.
and what, I guess, what does that mean, and how it integrates into the community. And I actually learned that a beach grass here hybridized, invasive beach grass hybridized with a native beach grass, and it turned into a hybrid version, which is interesting. But yeah, I think ultimately I'm always interested in like, what does it mean to be local, or like how long does it take to become local? And I think it really depends on the circumstance, or like the place, and like the relationship to the place. And it seems as though the qualifications are always shifting. So I'm interested in hearing from like community members on their opinions of it, but I don't know if I'm answering your question entirely. But still trying to unpack this. What do you have any thoughts, Zach?
My thoughts are somewhat along the lines of yours. The invasive species is well, it's relative, but it's also worth considering that humans are an invasive species.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. I think if the animals are living compatibly with other animals, they shouldn't be called an invasive species once they've adapted to the changing environment. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a fragile and complex conversation. Does anyone else want to have any follow-up comments on these thoughts around invasive or native?
I just have a question for you in terms of this project in general. Thank you so much for sharing this. I feel like I'm always talking to my family and sharing this project. But where do you see this project like in the future? And what do you envision?
Yeah, so right now I am working on getting Bunny Hill registered as a public site on Wikipedia, so it's more formalized in that way. And then I'm also interested in kind of having an annual exploration, some kind of like commemorance of the day that Bunny Hill was turned into a public historic site. So like a kind of annual exploration of that. That's kind of what I'm seeing for the future. Thanks for your question. Yeah, does anyone else want to just end with any last thoughts about their pet bunnies, or what you really want to leave with and share with everyone? Does Poppy have anything to say?
That's the rabbit.
Yeah, Poppy is the rabbit.
They don't talk.
I have a question. You said, wondering how come you chose to be at the site for this presentation and not showing us, a PowerPoint instead?
Yeah, because I wanted to be live with the bunnies so that everyone could engage with them and see them in their natural habitat. And I also don't have a pet bunny myself, and this is a bunny reunion. So, I have a personal relationship to the bunnies because I come here quite frequently to spend time with the bunnies. And so, since I don't have a pet bunny, these are the bunnies that I do know. here. Does that answer your question, Sohaila?
I just want to say wonderful choice.
Well, thank you everyone for coming to the bunny tour and reunion. And if you'd like to hear more about this project, which I didn't really go into depth during this event because it was slightly different, but if you want to learn more about the project and what happened here, you can come to my graduate lecture on Friday. And thank you so much to Justin, Marina, and Poppy for coming, and to Cindy and Ernie for coming. Thank you. And to also Snow Bunny, thank you for coming as well. And for all of your questions and interest in these animals that live on this planet that we are all rotating around the sun on.